Imagine you wake up tomorrow. No phone, no shelter, no tools, no other humans. How long would you survive? Most people think they'd last weeks. They're wrong. Most wouldn't survive long enough to worry about food. No shelter, no tools, no food, no one coming to help. You might think your biggest problem would be finding something to eat. But here's the strange part. Your biggest weakness would not be that you are human. It would be that you are alone. A single human is surprisingly vulnerable. You are not the fastest animal. You do not have claws. You do not have powerful jaws. You cannot see especially well in the dark. And your body is not built to survive extreme cold or heat without help. Yet somehow, humans became the most widespread large animal on Earth. How? The answer begins with something evolution usually seems to avoid: dependence. Look at a newborn human. It cannot walk. It cannot find food. It cannot defend itself. It cannot even regulate its body temperature very well. And this helplessness lasts far longer than it does in most other mammals. A newborn deer can stand within hours. A human baby can take around a year to begin walking independently. That sounds like a terrible evolutionary design. So why did it survive? Because the human body was never designed to work alone. For hundreds of thousands of years, your ancestors survived by turning other humans into part of their survival system.
Watch.
One person could watch for danger while another searched for food. Someone could carry a child while others moved camp. Experienced hunters could teach younger members where animals traveled and which plants were safe. The individual was vulnerable. The group was powerful. But this creates a strange question. Why would evolution produce an animal that depends so heavily on cooperation? One clue comes from the work of anthropologist Sarah Hurdy, who studied the unusual way humans raise children. Human babies require enormous amounts of care. A mother alone would face a tremendous burden. But humans evolved something unusual. Childcare could be shared. Grandparents, siblings, relatives, and other members of the group could all contribute. Hardy described this pattern as cooperative breeding. In simple terms, a human child was not only raised by one parent, it could be supported by an entire social network. That changes the evolutionary equation. A helpless baby becomes less of a problem when several people are helping to keep it alive. And the same principle works beyond childhood. Your ancestors did not need every individual to be good at everything. They needed different people to contribute different abilities. One person might be an excellent tracker. Another might know where water could be found. Another might understand plants. Another might be good at making tools. Another might simply notice danger earlier than everyone else. Knowledge could be distributed across the group. That mattered because the human body has an unusual weakness. It is slow. Compared with many predators, humans are not impressive sprinters. But humans have another advantage. They can cooperate over long periods. Consider hunting. A lone human trying to catch a powerful animal would be taking an enormous risk. But a coordinated group can surround prey, communicate, follow tracks, and keep moving for hours. This ability to cooperate did not require humans to become physically stronger than every animal. It allowed them to become strategically stronger. And that distinction may have changed everything. Anthropologist Michael Tomasello has spent decades studying cooperation and shared intentionality in humans and other primates. His research suggests that humans are unusually good at understanding that another individual can share the same goal. That sounds simple, but imagine what it means. You do not just see another person. You see someone who can understand what you are trying to accomplish. You can point. They can follow your gesture. You can warn them. They can warn you. You can make a plan. They can understand their role in that plan. This creates something more powerful than two individuals acting separately. It creates a team. And once teams became important, communication became incredibly valuable. Language did not simply allow humans to describe objects. It allowed humans to coordinate behavior. You could tell someone where danger was. You could explain how to make a tool. You could remember where water was found. You could warn younger members about a dangerous animal, and you could pass information to people who had never personally experienced the event. That last ability is enormous. A lone animal can learn from its own mistakes. A social human can learn from someone else's mistakes. That means one person's experience can become everyone else's knowledge. Imagine an ancient hunter discovering that a particular plant is poisonous. If that person dies after eating it, the information might disappear, but if the person survives and tells others, the entire group becomes safer. Knowledge stops belonging to one brain. It becomes part of the group. This may be one reason human culture became so powerful. Culture allows information to accumulate. One generation discovers something. The next generation starts with that knowledge instead of starting from zero. Then it adds something new. Then the next generation adds something else. Over thousands of years, tiny improvements can become enormous changes. A stone becomes a sharper stone. A shelter becomes better. A hunting technique becomes more efficient. A fire becomes easier to maintain. A simple signal becomes a complex language. The individual may be fragile, but the knowledge network surrounding that individual can be incredibly powerful. This also helps explain something strange about the human brain. Your brain is expensive. It consumes a huge amount of energy compared with its body size. Keeping a large brain alive is costly. So why would evolution favor such an expensive organ? One answer is that intelligence becomes especially valuable in a complicated social world. You do not only need to remember where food is, you need to remember who can be trusted, who knows how to make tools, who helped you before, who might help you again, who is angry, who is related to whom, who knows where the group is moving, who understands a particular skill. Your survival depends partly on understanding other minds. This creates an unusual situation. The human brain is not just a machine for understanding the physical environment, it is also a machine for navigating other humans. And that brings the story back to you. Think about modern life. You probably do not hunt every meal. You do not build your own house from raw materials. You do not grow every piece of food you eat. You probably could not make a working smartphone from scratch. You probably could not produce your own electricity. And you certainly could not recreate the entire medical system if you suddenly became sick. Yet you can live comfortably because millions of other people are doing specialized jobs that you depend on. The supermarket depends on farmers. Farmers depend on machines. Machines depend on engineers. Engineers depend on factories. Factories depend on energy systems. Energy systems depend on workers, infrastructure, and knowledge accumulated over generations. Your survival is connected to an enormous invisible network. You may feel like an independent individual, but biologically and socially, you are not. You are a specialist living inside a giant cooperative system. And this is where the ancient story becomes surprisingly modern. Humans did not suddenly stop needing each other when civilization appeared. Civilization amplified that dependence. A hunter-gatherer might depend on a few dozen people. A modern person can depend indirectly on millions. The strange part is that modern technology can make you feel more independent while making the underlying network even larger. You can order food without speaking to anyone. You can navigate without knowing the roads. You can communicate with someone on the other side of the planet. You can turn on a light without knowing who generated the electricity. The network becomes invisible. But invisible does not mean absent. Remove it, and the illusion of independence disappears quickly. This is why being alone in the wilderness feels so different. The problem is not simply that you have fewer people around you. You have lost an entire survival system.